Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, lead developer of the Kiango mod for EU5, and today I was doing some modding, mapping stuff, and other such things, and I thought, why not record myself doing a bit of the process and post it to my channel? Haven't been making as many videos or streams as I intended to lately, and I know there haven't been all that many pieces of content made about this initial process for how to actually get started with map modding. And I remember myself wanting to get started ages ago, and there wasn't enough stuff out there. So, why don't I walk you all through the process? Here is the current state of my map from a location standpoint. We have a whole lot of them. There's multiple thousands of locations already on the map. However, this is far from where you can get started. Uh, Most people that were preparing to make mods for EU5 had been doing little bits of work here and there within other game engines to attempt to preemptively have a province map set up of some sort. However, it's very difficult to transfer that content over to EU5, and many of us struggled for a good several days to get a map actually functioning in-game. And thankfully for most of you all who will be watching this at this point, that's no longer the case. We will be discussing specifically how to add a couple provinces and where to actually get started with as a base. To begin with, you actually want to download a very particular file, one that you can, for the moment, and hopefully it stays there, you can find on the mod co-op for EU5. If you don't know about that yet, then I'm glad to be the one to have introduced you to the concept. I'll link the Discord server in the description of this video. The EU5 mod co-op is an incredibly useful place for anyone who is trying to get started or already mods. Many of us are there asking questions, answering questions, and just hanging out talking about our projects. Whether it's people just getting started or with lots of experience trying to show off or share their ideas with other people. Now, there was a person much more skilled than I who, while not being a map modder themselves, figured out how to break down the game into its base components. There will be... Yes, it is referred to as the blank map for Total Overhaul mods. This file, which you will find and drop directly into your mods folder. It breaks down, as is said here, it breaks down the game's components into its most base form, stripping all of the non-essential aspects of the game, making it run with as few things as you could possibly have. There's specifically a unstable version that only has 6 habitable locations on the map, and I haven't even tried that one because it sounded a little sketchy, and the stable version, which we know for sure will work, where it has 256 habitable locations. The number is not that important, and in the beginning, all of these locations that will exist in this code are not ones you need to worry about. We only care about this file here because it allows us to get started. It strips your game down to its most fundamental bits and allows you a location to look around in mod files without needing to understand, filter through every little thing. This is my own Documents Paradox EU5 mod folder, where you will be putting any mods that you download or are working on yourself. The ones you download from the workshop go elsewhere. Once you download said file, the blank map 256, bless you, which you can find if you join the EU5 mod co-op server, go to the mapping channel in tech support, and look at the pinned messages. It's at the very top. You'll find your way to this shared resources blank map. Now, realistically, I could probably post this elsewhere because it's not something, he stated it's essentially open source. It's not a very complicated thing, but I would prefer to encourage more people to go to the source. as the EU5 mod co-op is a crucial resource. Now, once you have said file downloaded, you want to extract it and drop it in PDX. EU5 mod. Here it will be, and from here, once you've done that, that's all you need to do for it to show up in your list of mods that you can enable in EU5. When you load it up, it won't look like this, unsurprisingly, because this is with all of my extra provinces. It will instead look much more like this. Oh, I forgot I added this one here. Whoop, I'll have to replace that elsewhere. You just have this little strip of all of these test provinces, and also the tag of Austria being added with their populations and stuff associated with it. All of this stuff is what you need to make sure the game runs. If I also look at the location map, my own map is split up into the many of these really large rectangular locations rather, that the mod gives you. And these are crucial because I want to make sure that everyone who watches this knows, because I made this crucial mistake. You cannot simply replace those and make the whole world that you intend to be ocean, as I did. I made all of the lands here that are clearly meant to be ocean into a single location, and it didn't go so well. The game would crash. No, it didn't crash. It infinitely loaded, even worse. And I had no idea what was wrong. No one had any idea what was wrong, and it took me ages to figure out what I was doing wrong. So leave these in, and instead worry about what I'm here to explain properly as far as an actual process goes. What you do once you actually have all these, because I'm going to have to get rid of these eventually myself, but I'm not touching these for a while. Not until I'm trying to actually post a playable version of my mod to the workshop. These provinces stay. What you worry about is simply adding new ones. You build your own map around these. These make sure the game works. You slowly replace them over time. Make things work, then start adjusting it from there. The way that me and my team like to say it, keep it simple, stupid, is our design philosophy, and it works the best. So, what I'll be showing how to actually province map, I realized I missed a golden opportunity to showcase adding provinces, because I hadn't added these little OPM tiles to this chunk of mountain. It's going to be a chunk of mountain in the end. It isn't yet on my map. But I realized after I did these, damn, that would have been perfect for showcasing it. But, what's done is done. So we will be going instead to this little lump of gray that you can see. There's all these little strips of gray here, which you can see are bits of terrain on the height map that are not actually assigned to any of these locations on my main map, similar to the mountains and such. We'll be filling those in later. But for the moment, we're just going to be learning the very basics of how to actually add provinces to your map. You only need 2 at its most basic to get the initial just game recognizing that there is in fact 3 files. There's a few files involved. 3 files are needed to actually make the game recognize that there is a location here, say its name, show its color in the game, and all that. And there's a couple more that are required if you want to actually have the population, culture as a result, and raw materials showing up in-game as intended. So, with that, we will go over to my coding program thingamajiggy of choice, Visual Studio Code. I would recommend that you would download this and make use of it yourselves. It has a lot of very nifty shortcuts. However, if you insist, you can just use Notepad or Notepad++. There are some very adamant modders in the community that I've never been able to convince how to use this instead. The main reason that this is so useful, I find, is because there is a feature, File, Add Folder to Workspace. When you click Add Folder to Workspace, you are able to select the entire mod file. Essentially, what you want to do here is Add Folder to Workspace. You get your little open up thing here. Navigate yourself to the blank map file and click Add. This will add every single file in the blank map here. Every single file in that, every text file rather, will be added to a workspace. And this means that you are able to use the command, it has saved my life so many times, the command Control-Shift-F. When you press Control-Shift-F, you can search up fun, I don't know, FU, whatever. Search up anything you want, any amount of letters, numbers, whatever, something you can find in those files. If you are looking at the blank map and you've opened it up and you're trying to find something about it, this isn't in it. I just added that later. If you're looking for something about Test Province 3, you can see this in-game as Test Province 3. You can just search up Test Province 3 and it will show up. Mind you, I don't have this opened to my workspace, so you won't find it by me searching. But I am able to search up anything in that file, and it will bring me to it, and I can learn more stuff about it that way. But that's not specifically what we need to do right now. I'm just yapping a bit, as I tend to do. So, the files we need in here that I've opened up in Visual Studio Code from my own mod, not the. I've renamed them all and changed them from the original default map that I had. So you have your default text file within the mod, in-game map data, named locations, and then finally default.txt. This is where the game recognizes all of your little things on the map, all these locations. It is able to then recognize them and translate them into the code. This is what tells the entire rest of your mod what these locations are. The second one that is crucially tied to it is found within your mod in map data. This is locations PNG. What a lovely little image that's very hard to look at and makes my screen light up as if I turned on Discord light mode. This is where the magic happens, where you get to have your fun little painty brush times, and you draw all over this very carefully, mind you, because this needs to be very precise. You cannot have any transparency, you cannot have any extra layers, you cannot have any fuzzy edges on your pixels. Everything needs to be precisely colored, because every distinctive color, every little bit of transparency, every little faded edge on a color will be recognized by the game as an additional province. And then your whole game will blow up. You scared? Good. You should be, because you need to take this very slowly when you are adding things. So, let us go to... Yes, I already still had GIMP open with this. I did this a little more complicatedly. It's a more advanced thing that you worry about only if you've already got a pre-made height map for yourself that shows you the outline of your world. I have multiple layers here. I know I just said you don't have layers in it, but this is just a visual aid for me, and when I actually export my image, I get rid of all of the transparency and stuff. That's the important thing. When you're actually saving your image, you cannot have any of that transparency. But that yappage is all to say, I've got this whole thing set up so that I can see the outline of my world in the background while I am painting provinces over it before I save them. And it's a little hard for me to see in my own lighting, but it looks like it shows up decently on the recording. Here you can see this very faded outline of the gray, this actual piece of land that in-game translates to this spot that is not actually, it doesn't actually have any provinces on it. So to fix that, we're going to add some provinces to the map. We'll go with 2 here. And we could add another 2 over there, but it might be a little overkill. It might be better to instead just adjust these ones so that they fit. Or we could just see how they show up in game anyway. I don't know. Just making decisions is difficult sometimes. So what you need to do next is generate somehow a name you want to use for the location and a hex code, which is both useful for me because I use GIMP and this uses hex codes. And you need it to be in hex code for EU5 to actually recognize it. That means it's all of these little numbers here, or letters and numbers. So I'll copy it. I literally, just for the sake of this, just generate. I had told ChatGPT, give me some names, give them hex codes. This is the kind of names I want, whatever. Sometimes I use ChatGPT, sometimes I use random name generator and then a random color generator, and sometimes I use a Python script. But however you get them is not important. Point is, you get the name, you get the number you want to use, and then you're gonna paste it in here. Start having it. No, it's this disgusting shade of brown that's gonna blend right in. That's not very helpful. It's gonna be a little hard for that to show up. Oh no, that shows up quite well actually. I don't listen to Joffrey. So now that we have that color, we want to make certain that the brush we're using, we gotta go on the pencil tool and have our hardness at maximum. It's got to be no fuzzy edges on your lines. It's got to be a very solid color, as I was saying. So we'll just color this in. Make it like that. Then I'll use my, just the way I like to do it. I like to use my fuzzy select tool to grab the inner bit here that wasn't selected. Click on it. I've got the whole thing here selected. Maybe you need to make it a little bigger, so it's got to fit in with the rest of the lands around it. So compare it to the others. Grab a little bit from its neighboring tiles. There. That's decent. And just to make it a little more interesting, we will add the second one. Keep things going. We'll add the second one here as well. This will be a smaller location, though. It's going to be a little tight in here. That's only... oh, no, that's 262 pixels large. That's okay. It's still small, but it's tolerable. And then over here... I'm not heeding my own advice. I was saying you gotta take things very carefully, but... 4 locations at once should be fine, surely. And we'll make this a goofy little coastline where you've got some very stringy locations that kind of take up the coast here. It's also 259 pixels, that should be decent. And the last one, copy in that final hex code and paint with it. That can't be that stringy. That's a little too long and stringy to be a good idea to make a province shaped like that. But what we can still do is, I'm gonna get rid of my opacity thing here. I gotta make sure I grab just the right color. It's gotta be exactly the same, so it needs to be not at all opacified. Grab the right color. And then I'll fill the rest of this little coastline in. Make sure that my height map is all nice and wonderful. There we go. And with that, we filled in the coastline there. So, get rid of all the opacity there. Turn off the visibility of that extra layer that I had. Right click to double check. See if it has any alpha channels. You want to make sure you always double check. Remove alpha channel. Remove transparency information from the layer. This one's a killer. It'll get you. has gotten me many times in the past, and when I initially started trying to mod CK3 way back when, I'm so old! I'm not actually that old. When I started doing it back then, I quit because I couldn't figure out that that was my problem. But time and time and time, couldn't quite get it. And then export it to the same spot. Though, actually, I should make another clarification. You also want to make sure that you're exporting it. It's got to be, when you export it, file, export as, export, yeah, replace it. But you want to make sure that it is exporting it 8 BPC RGB. That is the format that it needs to be exported in. Do not do 16 instead of 8, for example. That will screw things up. Now we head back to our other files. We'll head to the bottom here and just, I'll add another hashtag in space. This means that anything I type after that gets grayed out and isn't actually information that is read by the code. So just say hashtag to comment it out, is what it's called, and say testing extra provinces. No, not provinces. In EU5 they're called locations. Extra locations for YouTube. There's space. The extra spaces in here don't actually matter. The game is intelligent enough to recognize the empty spaces there. And with that, we are going to add these 4 locations. And this also is another good opportunity for me to explain another thing you do not want to make as a mistake. Very convenient. This name here that I generated, it's got a funny special character on the E. And you...
May I have?
No, I'm drinking that later.
You see how he treats me?
You're already drinking all my Dr. Pepper.
You don't love me.
No. I just love your Fanta. Alright. Pop that open. Pineapple Fanta. Love it. So, this special character here, it's not allowed. And by not allowed, I mean the game does not know what that means. It does not know what it is. So, best case scenario, you put one of those in and the game just ignores it and just looks the other way, and you just have an empty space. That's what EU4 does. Best case scenario. In EU4, it would just ignore it. There'd be a little blank space, and so if you had any special characters in the names, it would show up as just random empty spaces in the names, which is kind of funny. But here, the game's not quite so generous. There's a little tool out of my code here. In EU5, it's not so generous. It just below though. The whole game just crashes, and it does tell you in the error log, but we're not dealing with that right now. So we need to get rid of that. Just make it a normal E. And after you put that, so the name, let's lowercase it again, like everything else in my format, space equals, and then put the hex code. This is how the game recognizes that this hex code is tied to this name. So for the everywhere else in your mod, it will be recognizing that this name is tied to this color on your province map. Now this is also quite useful because it means that if you ever have a problem with that specific location on your province map, it will tell you that in the error log it will mention this place, specifically the province that is causing the problem, and then you will be able to find it easily because you have here the color code associated with it. And say, copy it again. If it's this one, all you got to do to actually find the place, paste it into your painter, draw some random weird shape, and then use the select color tool click on that thing you've now drawn, and it will highlight everything of that color that is used on the map. So that being the new thing I drew, and the old one, the actual province you're looking for. That has saved me many times when I accidentally had transparent pixels or little faded lines. There were many times where I accidentally did that, and that meant I needed to find them bit by bit, which was a huge pain, but we're not dealing with that now. So, add the first one, and just move on to add all of the 4 ones that we've done. Equals next code, and we will be adding all 4 of these, and we will be adding these to more files as well. There's more to be done for the game to properly understand that these exist and to give them more information relating to that. So, there we go. Now, let's save that. So, going forward, the game will be looking at this file, and it will recognize what those colors mean on the map. And hopefully it will not explode. If it explodes, then that means I need to roll back this recording just a little bit. And that would be awkward. Because this has taken a bit. Didn't realize how long I was going. I like to yap a lot. So we take these, moving along, we take these to our definitions file. And there is a whole lot of stuff in here. We will go all the way to the bottom for the sake of the argument. And actually, no, we're not going all the way to the bottom. We're not going anywhere for the sake of the argument. We are going to find specifically, this is what I like to do when I'm adding something to an already existing place on the map like this, because I need to find Ognitsk. This place. Telzug. Let's find Telzug. So we need to find this spot, because we want to put these new locations next to that. Yes. So, I'm going to press Control F, that brings up this, and we'll look up Telzug. That will bring me to where I put that. Realistically, this is what you start with. You start with the custom continent, custom subcontinent, custom region, my land area, my land province, and you get this one province full of all of these extra test provinces. And as you add more stuff, wasteland area, wasteland province, and some dummy areas that aren't actually filled in. You can search for all of those when you need to find them. But I have now found Telzug, which is the specific place next to here that we are looking for. So we will, we could realistically do one of two things. We could either add the new locations to this already existing province, but even though it looks strange, I prefer to add, and it will take a little bit of tweaking, I prefer to have my provinces all be in groups of 4 where possible. It's not always possible, but I'm trying to go with the consistent format of 4 locations. Even though the vanilla game isn't that consistent, I'm trying my best. So, we'll go back here. We found Telzug, and we are going to want to make a new province. So we'll copy that province that already exists, paste it, and we just need to rename it. We need to just give it a new name, and it'll be, because it will make sense to those who know the lore, I guess, of the setting, and for anyone who's on my team who is going to be looking at this, we'll say, Elise _ Colonial ports underscore province. Belize Colonial Ports Province. It makes sense to those who know. The name doesn't matter. I just like to give it the underscore province thing at the end to make sure that I know in that this is a province tier title. And they all show up for the moment, all of these provinces and provinces, areas, and regions as this, which looks rather rough. But that's because there's no localization, is what it's called, done. And we'll get to that another time. It's not crucial for the game to actually function, so I'm leaving it for now, and we'll most likely have a script throw it all together for me in the future. But we will discuss that when the time comes. For the moment, we are supposed to be adding these new areas, because the game won't run properly if the things that these new areas we've added, provinces, actually properly defined in the location. So for the moment, I will simply replace these 4 already existing things, copy and paste from the default file, all 4 of these new provinces have been added, and replace those old ones. Doesn't mean that you also need to make your provinces 4 locations. There are people on my team who think 6, and some who think 5. Some think 4 is perfect. Who knows? Maybe in the end we'll end up compromising and making it 5. Maybe we'll make it 8. Some people think 8. So, who knows? By the end of it, we may end up squishing together a whole bunch of these provinces one day. So, with that though, there we go. Beyond that, what else we can do is, yet again, search for Telzugt. We go to this other file, this next file. We've still got Telzugt being searched for, very conveniently. So, find previous match, bring us right there. This here, location templates, tells a location what the actual makeup of the location is, what its topography, vegetation, climate, and so on and so forth is. So, now that we've found this, we're nice and close to it already, we'll make a little bit of extra space before this next region that is on the list. And just to be extra sure, I'll give an extra little space here just to make the emphasis clear that this is that empty space. I'm gonna select the whole Telzugt line here by clicking and copy and paste it, 4 more. You'll come to find, if you decide to stick with modding, that copying and pasting the correct things and figuring out why it didn't work so that you can copy and paste the correct thing is 85% at least of what you're doing. Unless you're map modding, then you have a lot of drawing to do, and it gets really painful. Yes, but nonetheless, we're showing you how. Back to default, we will copy all of these names now over top of those previously created copies. This will mean that they will initially show up with the exact same vegetation and stuff as that previous location, but that's fine. That is not important. Same raw materials and culture and stuff. Yeah, that's not important. We're just needing to make it actually show up in the game. The final thing, the only other thing that's left after that, is the pops. The actual telling it how many pops are supposed to be on this location. Found Telzugt again. Copy Telzugt. Go down. Realistically, the only difference that you'd be doing in this for creating your own provinces is copying and pasting instead of Telzugt here, the test provinces. As you can see up here, they have all this information in as well. So, scroll down to the end of this line here and do the same thing again. Make an extra space and create some extra copies, which will all once again, pops, have the exact same information that is fine for now, because we are keeping it simple, stupid. The game just needs to run. You can sort things out beyond that later when you have the luxury. Save that, and that should be all that we need to make the game recognize those locations. Once we exit back to the main menu, have our mod loaded in our playset, apply the mod again. Just needs to reload the mod now that you're back to the main menu and you've made those changes, and hopefully it doesn't crash. If it crashes, that would be really inconvenient at this point in time, because I spent a little bit recording this. So, please. I mean, I did it perfectly though, so it wouldn't do that. I mean, it would never crash. It's gonna load perfectly. Just ignore the jittering. Yeah, it's gonna load, and then we're gonna get in game, and I'll have done it correctly the first try, because I am actually pretty good at this. I'm amazing at modding, to be honest. Yeah, I never make any mistakes. And see, we're in game. There was never any doubt. You see, I never crossed my fingers or anything. It's just because that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna cross your fingers like that. I actually knew all along it was gonna work just fine. And then we bring up our locations map mode, zoom in a little bit here, and there you can see there are those new locations with those names that we picked out all along the coast here. And they're now showing up like the terrain around it, because when we go to topography, it's all registering as flatland, grassland, and of course the one I don't have saved, climate, is Mediterranean, just like Telzug here. Which also means the exact same pop number, and also generating wool, which, I mean, it's a pretty good resource, so who knows, maybe it'll stick around for a bit. Dark, if you see this, don't change the wool. I swear, don't change the wool. He loves turning everything on the coast into goddamn fish. He's gonna turn them into fish, just you wait. Anyway, that is the very basics of how, in the most yap-ified way possible, how to get started with adding new provinces to your map. There's a lot more, of course, to be done. Not least of all, making a height map that actually functions and looks half decent. It's been a bit of trial and error, I'm gonna be honest. I've spent way too many hours doing this. But finally, we on the Kyongol team are getting cooking with it, and I'll be presenting more videos to you all shortly about other bits of the process, so that you too can make your own unique cultures and religions like we have been. Because I mean, there's a lot of cultures in EU5, but Muzantiri is not one of them, I promise you, even though Buherati does sound like one. Jebeli will have the honor to have been the first culture ever actually added to this mod, so now it's on the web and it is in stone. But with that, next time I will be back theoretically to show you all how to create cultures and maybe even religions if I'm feeling spicy. I might have to split that up just for the sake of it. I don't know. But in any case, thank you all for watching for now. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye. Oh. And of course the game crashes.
Talking to yourself.
No, this is the outro. The game crashed. The game crashes. I'm doing my outro and saying bye.
I was like, you're just talking to yourself.
Oh.
Yeah, so I thought,
Well, the game crashed. It all works though. I promise, it all works. There's some kinks to work out, and it's a little difficult. Bye. 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 Bye.